today I'm going to test for mites. It's my first time doing it. The first 2 years I just treated them automatically, but I'm gonna try something new this year. And you know, a lot of people say, hey, you should only treat for mites if you have mites. So I think that, you know, that's probably the best bet going forward. So what I did was I have a mason jar here, 2 mason jars. One's labeled red hive, the other one's labeled blue. I filled this with rubbing alcohol and a little bit of dish soap. So what I guess, it's my first time doing it, so who knows if this is the right way, wrong way, but I'm gonna scoop up as many bees as possible. Hi Dad. I'm going to put them in the mason jar. I'm gonna shake the hell out of it. Unfortunately, obviously the bees are going to die, and then I will leave them in there, and then I'll probably do this later at home and I'll record that. I'm going to put them out on like a paper towel and then go through and see how many mites I have per how many bees. And then I'm gonna look up, I know there's a percentage on this many mites per this many bees you should treat, so I'll look that up, I'll record all that, I'll put the information out about when you should treat, when you should not treat, and then we'll go from there. So what I'm gonna do, I have these, I can't forget to test these bees, so I've got my little bottle of alcohol and soap. So I have my 3 frames down here, and I have a little clump of bees. So literally all I'm gonna do is I'm going to grab a clump of bees with my hand, put them in here, grab another clump. Hate to do it, but you know. So I got my jar here full of bees, and they're dead, unfortunately. That's how you gotta test them. So we'll do that later, but I'm gonna take for the dreaded mite collection. Here's my jar. Again, I've got 4 frames on the ground over here. I'm just gonna take, last time I kind of grabbed them and I don't think it worked really well because I think I squished some of them in my hand. I think that I might just gently dust them in here. Give them a little shake. Sorry girls. It's kind of like sacrifice a few for the many. Okay, welcome to my backyard. So this morning I took out 2 like handfuls of bees per each of my hive to check them for mites. So like I said before, I just filled these up about 1/4 of the way full with a little bit of Dawn dish soap and rubbing alcohol. So when I kind of like swept a handful of them into my mason jar, I shook them. Obviously the bees had to die. So now I'm at my house and I'm going to sift through them using a paper towel. I drained out the alcohol. I just like slid open the top of this mason jar very slightly to let the alcohol out, so I can pour them on my paper towel. So I'm looking for mites specifically. So I looked it up and it said you should treat if you find 1 to 3 mites per 100 bees if you want to treat, or you can wait until there's like a higher count, like 3 to 5 bees per 100, 3 to 5 mites per 100 bees. So mites are like little tiny, what we're looking for is like a little tiny like pinhead. They're like brownish red, and they live on the bees. So what I'm looking for is to see if I can see any mites that have fallen off, because I would assume, you know, like, this is my first time doing this, but I would assume if I did have a mite, it would fall off with, you know, and be like on the paper towel. So what I'm just kind of doing is looking kind of at each bee slightly. I can show you this. So I just have, this is from my blue hive. So what I'm doing is basically just like picking up each one of these bees and looking at it to see if there are any mites on there. But again, I said, like, if, you know, you're shaking this up and the mites should fall off the bees. Again, I've never done this before, so I don't really know what to expect. The gentleman did purchase my bees from said that he's never had pretty much any mites. So I just got these bees like a month ago, so I'm really not expecting to have any mites or really have to treat. You know, maybe not until like September, when the mite count gets like usually really high with like the heat. They tend to multiply towards like the end of summer. So like I said, again, I've never done this before, but I figured I should do it this one time so I know what I'm doing in the future. So again, I'm just kind of looking at each bee to see if I can find any mites. And I know I've talked to other people that have done this, that, you know, they basically just like spread them out and you can like see the mites on the white paper, like your paper towel or like whatever. I would use white, probably would help contrast, you know, the brownish red mite when it falls off the bee. But yeah, so far in the blue hive, I don't see any mites on any of the bees or anything that has fallen off, like that's on the paper towel itself, besides the bees that looks like it could be a mite. So yeah, let me just look through these last few. And I really hated to do this, like because that's what I did my first 2 years, is I just like treated automatically because I really didn't want to have to like kill these bees. But again, at the end of the day, like, this is just like a small sacrifice to the whole colony, and if I don't have to treat, it's better for the health of the colony than, you know, putting excessive like chemicals on your beehive that you don't have to do. So I'm just gonna count these really quick. I don't think I have 100 obviously, but at least I would know, like, hey, I have this many. I think next time I should probably try to get a little bit more in there. But again, this is all learning, so let me do a quick count. Okay, so I have 57 bees in this hive. So again, I didn't see any mites. Nothing on like the paper. There's some pollen that just came off. So all good signs. So I'm gonna throw those away, and I'll keep my mason jar obviously for the next time I do this. So let me just do my red hive here.